Welcome to the boating adventure. Well, a very good morning to you. It's Wednesday the 21st of August 2024, and I think I'm going to be spending the next couple of days in the Lisbon House workshop. I need to do something with the backboard on the Swamp Duck. This is the board that sits above the engine compartment, and it's the main entrance into the boat. So as you can see, with the constant footfall getting in and out the boat and standing on this, it takes a bit of a hammering, and this end part here came away, and so it was flapping around, and it was dangerous, and it was also very irritating, the noise it made. So at one point I had to find a bit of a washer and a bolt and just do a temporary mend. Now I have renovated this board, which came with the boat, a few times now, and I think it's getting to the stage where it needs replacing completely. What I want to do is to get some ply and some new struts and make a replica of this. But what I want to do also is, once it's made, I want to fiberglass it so that it covers up all of these slats, and so they no longer will be able to come loose. They'll be part and parcel of the whole board. So that's my plan. I have ordered some fibre matting and all the hardener and the resin, and that's on its way. So I just need to go and purchase some board and some struts here and the bits underneath as well, and I think I can remake this. There's a slight challenge because there is a slight slope to the sides, so it has to be raised up in the middle to cope with the engine, but I'm sure I can do that. So it has to be very, very stable, and this has been repaired so many times and repainted and so on, and it's getting a little bit flimsy. And when I see people like Steve getting onto the boat, you look at it and you think that looks as though it could collapse. It really does need consigning to the archives, and I need to remake and improve on the design of it. So I think I've gathered all of the materials that I need to do the job. So I'm going to spend the next couple of days replicating one of these and improving the design. So come and join me. So I think this little job is going to require a lot of thinking as well as a lot of making. So before I do anything, cup of tea. Okay, so the way the original board was constructed, it was made out of a sort of composite of a piece of plastic, and then that was covered with some substantial layers of fiberglass. And it's kind of it's this shape, rounded corners here, and then on the top view it then has some wooden slats that have been bolted through, and these are regular intervals, and these provide some grip to when you're standing on the backboard. So what I intend to do is to use the old board as a template, and I need to draw around as accurately as I can onto the new sheet of plywood, and then I need to cut that out. And then as regards the top, I've got some pieces of wood, and I'm going to make the slats just the same as they were before, but instead of bolting them through, they're going to be stuck on with some weatherproof adhesive initially, and then once it's all been dried and so on, I'm going to cover the whole of that with some sheets of fiberglass, so all of those will be encased. And I think that will be a better design than it was originally, because the problem was over time the weather got to the pieces of wood, and I've had to replace those several times. So if they were actually encased within the design of the board, within the fiberglass, then that would alleviate that problem, and it would still give these humps, if you like, as a grip to when you're standing on the backboard. The other thing that it has to have is a little holder there and there with a stretchy piece of elastic which just holds the thing down to the boat. So that's the top view of it, and then underneath, obviously same shape, but it has some struts. It's got 1, 2, 3 which have been embedded, which is where I intend to copy that idea from for all of it. So 3 of them are embedded, and then you've got 2 wooden shaped pieces of wood that fit in between, and they are bolted through. Now again, after a time I've had to replace those because they've become rather weak, and the whole thing, if you look at it sideways on, it is actually arched, and those struts there, they pull the whole thing together to make it into an arch shape. And you need that arch shape because you need to avoid the board from touching the engine. So I've got to try and achieve that shape. So the ply board that I have bought is flexible enough to be able to be pulled in onto an arch shape strut which will go across there, and those also I'm going to then cover the underneath of it with fiberglass, and everything will be embedded inside. So the first thing I need to do is to use the old board as a template, but before I can do that I need to remove the struts so I can try and straighten it out, because otherwise it's going to have there's going to be a discrepancy on the size of it, and I want to try and make it exactly the same size. Ooh, I don't know whether you can see this. Those are the arch pieces here, that one there, that pull the shape of it inwards, and that's the bit I need to replicate so that it doesn't touch the engine. So I'm going to dismantle the original board and use the pieces as a template. This is a repair that I had to make whilst we were out on the cut on our way to Banbury a couple of weeks ago, and I had to do a quick bodge job, and you can see that the problem is that these slats have gone rotten, and they're particularly vulnerable where the bolts have gone through. So this is why the whole thing needs replacing. So I've now removed all of the slats, both on the top side and then underneath. It just remains these struts here that are embedded, which which I obviously can't get out. But if I lay this down on the floor and stand on it, I can more or less get rid of the curve, so at least I can get a true measurement. I managed to get all of the struts off more or less in one piece. This was the one that broke when we were out on the cut on the way to Banbury, but I did save that piece of wood so that I've got it to add to that, and again these will give me the correct template. And these are the ones that go underneath, the curved pieces, which I need to replicate, and they will help to curve the plywood. So I've now got the template used, and I now have it all marked out on this lovely piece of plywood. And I've straightened up all the edges with a ruler, and the curves also with a bendable ruler. That's the plywood all cut out. I have marked on the places where the holes need to be drilled for the bolts, so I can probably do that on the bench drill. Okay, these are the old slats. I'm just checking that they would fit. So what I need to do now is to replicate these, make some new ones. Then I can get those stuck down, bolted on, and that'll be fine. And these are the old curved struts for the back. So obviously I need to cut some of those, that they would fit if they were there, and they will pull with the angle of them, they should pull the plywood into shape. So I've now got all of my struts and supports marked out, so I can now cut them out, and I think I can do that on the mitre saw on the workbench. So I managed to get all of those slats cut out, and the supports as well, but I just need to get the little angles going now on these supports, so that they're more of an arch shape than straight, so that'll help to bend the plywood round. So I think the best place to achieve that is on the bandsaw. So I just need to do that, bandsaw that off, and then put it on the sander just to clean it up. going to drill the holes now in each of the slats and the supports, get the holes drilled, and then just a quick sand just to finish off, and then I can start putting the whole thing together. Okay, so these bolts are pulling the whole thing together and beginning to get a bit of a curvature. So that's good. It's beginning to take shape now. I've got 3 of the runners on, and then underneath I've got 3 of the supporting struts. So I've managed to get all of the top runners on, all 6 of them, and there's just 2 struts to go underneath, and they shouldn't take too much putting on. A quick before and after. So that's the old one that's been dismantled. That can actually be thrown away now. And here's the new one. So I've done all the woodwork. Now tomorrow I'm going to put up a couple of layers of fiberglass on it. I think that is fairly solid and should take a fair amount of weight. Well, a very good morning to you. It's Thursday the 22nd of August 2024, and I'm back in the workshop again today. I had a very successful day yesterday making the replacement backboard engine cover for the Swamp Duck, and it's been resting all overnight and all the glue is all nice and set, and it really is very, very solid. It's extremely windy out there today. We've got 2 days of high winds in the UK, so I'm glad in a way that I'm able to come in here and get some work done for the boat. But I certainly wouldn't want to be out on it today on the canal. You'd get blown halfway to Kingdom Come in it. So there's my backboard, and it has got a good rock on it. So it's curved, it's not flat, which is good. We need that curve so that it clears the engine. Okay, so my next task is I'm going to fiberglass this so that it makes the whole thing waterproof and will preserve the wood. So I've got some fiberglass sheeting and loads of resin so that we can cover the whole thing front and back, and then case it in fiberglass. Once that's all set and dry, then I can then paint it back up again, and hopefully nobody will notice the difference between this one and the previous one. So let's get going. So I've got the fiberglass matting, got plenty of it, so I could probably do a couple of layers at least. This is fairly fine. This is a fine fiberglass. You can get it in different grades. You can get quite a coarse grade, which is okay for small repairs, but if you want to use this on a gel coat on your GRP, you need something of a finer quality like this one. So I've got that, and I've got my tin of resin. Hopefully I've got enough there, I think I will have done. And then I've got my little bottle of hardener. Now the amount of hardener that you need to mix with the resin is 2%. So for 100 millilitres of the resin, I need 2 of the hardener, and I've got a small syringe that came with all this. Just need to fill that up and then mix it up. And I've got a jug to measure out the resin. I've got that for the hardener, so it's just a matter of mixing them together. You do need to work fairly quickly with it before it starts to dry, because it can dry quite quickly. It's not hot today, so that's one good thing about it. It'll give me a little bit more working time. So the first thing to do is I'm going to cut the fiberglass to shape and to size, and then I'm going to start mix the resin up, and then I'm going to put a coat of the mixture first of all onto the wood, then lay the fiberglass on top of it, maybe use a bit of a roller, or a small roller to smooth it down and get into the corners, and then put another layer of the resin on the top so it all soaks in together, and then leave it to dry. So we simply lay that on there, and then I've got a roller to roll that down. So now I'm going to go over the top of that. Okay, so I've now got 3 layers of the fiberglass on the underside here, and it is beginning to harden. I'm going to leave that for a while now because I need to be able to turn it over so that I can do the other side, and I can't do it yet whilst it's got any stickiness to it. Once it's dried off, then it does need a slight sanding just to smooth it over before I paint it. I could of course have just painted this up and put some sort of waterproofing on it. I could use some yacht varnish and that kind of thing, but at the end of the day it would have remained a wooden structure, and I think in my heart that would actually compromise the swamp duck, because the swamp duck is a GRP. It's built of glass reinforced plastic, and to make it into a half wooden boat I don't think would be right. So I think it's worth going to the trouble of trying to restore the boat as close to its original material as I possibly can. Anybody who has owned or owns a GRP knows that in some places on the canals and rivers you do come across people who are very prejudiced against people who have a GRP. Don't ask me why, I have no idea, but certainly Steve and I have come across that. not just from boat owners, but we've come across it from personnel from the Canal and River Trust, volunteers doing the locks. I can think of one occasion when we were banished, we were denied access to Foxton locks until every single metal boat had gone down the locks. We weren't allowed to go up simply because we were a GRP, and there just was no justification for it really. So people are prejudiced against it, but the thing that impresses me about fiberglass, I think it's a really good material to work with, and it's a lot stronger than people give it credit for. After all, the Swamp Duck is some 51 years old this year, and it must have gone through a few knocks as it's had different owners and it's been different places. It will have had its knocks, but considering its age and its circumstances, it's in pretty good nick. And the one good thing about fiberglass, it's a lot easier to put right and mend than anything like a steel boat. So I'm happy that I've gone to the trouble of making this into as GRP as I can. I've finished the underside of the backboard, the engine cover. I've ordered some of the soundproofing that I put on to counteract the noise from the Chinese diesel heater metal tank. And I've ordered enough to cover most of the underside of the backboard. So my next job is I need to put a much smoother coat or gel coat on the top part. So I'm now putting the deadening material on the underside of this engine board. It's now Saturday the 24th of August 2024, and I've more or less finished the backboard. I'm just waiting for the arrival of some acrylic spray so that I can add just a finishing touch, and then I need to return the board to the Swamp Duck for a final fitting. Okay, so finally the backboard has been reinstalled. It actually fits perfectly, and it's even got the Relcraft logo on it. I hope you've enjoyed that video. It was great to go down to the boat today and just put the backboard on the boat, and it just fitted like a glove. I didn't have to do any adjustment whatsoever. It was just brilliant. I love it when a plan comes together. So thank you very much for watching this video, and thank you for all your support. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, then please consider doing so. It's completely free, and it's a great encouragement to us to keep making these videos. And if you did enjoy the video, then please give us a thumbs up, as that helps to take the videos up the YouTube algorithm and brings them to the attention of more and more people. So thank you very much for all your support, and as always, do take care.